Hello, welcome to Driven It. Tinker time. Barry's wheel is off and there is a reason, and we're going to look into the reason, and I'll tell you what the reason is after this. His lordship here went for an MOT and he failed. Oops. It just sort of make me question this whole MOT exempt thing, but I'll come on to that on another post because I'm for it and against it. But anyway, he failed on his rear brakes, a rear brake imbalance, and I went, oh bugger. I had a sneaky suspicion what it was, and the MOT garage said it felt like there was a lazy cylinder, and I went, okay, and I thought, I know what it is, I haven't bled them enough, and it was true, I hadn't bled it enough. When I replaced the master cylinder, when I bled the rear brakes, they bled really quickly. That one bled really, really quick, and I was like, has that been done? I should have re-bled it. I really should have done. So yeah, my bad. However, I had to take him to another garage because a friend's garage, he does all the tweaking and the tuning because the emissions were a bit all over the place for some unknown reason. However, when he was on the MOT, his thing, yeah, rear brakes, perfect now. But he said, no, you've got an imbalance on the front brakes. Now, it wasn't enough to warrant a failure or an advisory, but you could see it when you've got the dials, when they're on the rollers, and you could see near side was going, yay. Offside was going, yay, 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 yay. And it was like, ooh, what the bloody hell. Now, I hadn't really noticed a pulsating pedal. Is mildly pulsating, and my understanding on these things is if the pedals start pulsating, it's usually the back brakes have gone out of adjustment. Now I knew the back brakes hadn't gone out of adjustment because I've zapped them all up when I did all the brakes, and I thought, right, okay, I thought, well, let's have a look at this offside front disc. And he said it could just be a piece of dirt or a bit of rust behind the pad or on the disc that's just causing this problem. So I thought, okay, let's get down and dirty. So I'm going to take you on the journey to see if we can find a problem with this disc. Now with your Bentley manual, if you have got one, I'll tell you something, if you have got a VWT2 and you're looking for the best manual in the world, honestly, the Bentley one is phenomenal. It is sort of my library one. I don't usually bring it into the workshop with me, but I have done today. Now, we have got the discs and we're looking for Runout. And it says here, slowly turn the disc around, blah, 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 blah. Maximum allowable Runout is 0.10 millimetre. Now, if you're thinking, how big is 0.10 millimetre? Get your feeder gauges out and look for... That is it. Oh God, look, you see, I can't even keep still. It is really, really finicky. And yeah, not a lot. And if you get your dial tool and you put in that feeder gauge, you see that? There you go. It reads about it reads about 10, which is thereabouts. I'm not really level on that, which is 0.10 of a mil. And you go, wow, that's not a lot. And it really, really isn't a lot. So I will be intrigued to see if this does have a problem. Now, I am using, because I have nowhere really of mounting this, I don't know if that's going to work. Oh, that will do, but the bus, oh no, the bus doesn't move actually. Right, this dial-up tool has got the magic dial and it sticks into everything. So I'm going to faff around with this because it's all sort of bits here and bits there to try and get this all to stick in together, and we shall have a measure. Right, going to bring it in a bit closer to the action. Now, usually with this magnet, you can sometimes stick it to your caliper. However, the caliper base isn't really big enough and it's a little bit wonky, so it doesn't happen. Anyway, it was just taking me a bit of time to faff around on how to set this up because, yeah, I got one of my things in the wrong place. However, let's have a turn of the disc and see what we get. I'm going to turn the light out of the way. Oh, hang on. Oh, and it's gone that way. Right, now, that there, what that is showing me is that's showing that I haven't actually got the low spot on the disc. So I don't necessarily need to get the low spot on the disc because I can literally add that side and that side to work out what it is. But however, let's find the low spot on the disc, and then we'll come back and then we can see the actual figure. But as you can tell, I don't think that's very good. Now, give or take, now where's his center point? Now I said that was the center point. Now I've marked the disc. So I've marked the disc with a blue bit of paint, which you probably can't see, but it's just there. That's his low point. Haven't rotated, that is the lowest point on the disc, because then everything is contacting. If that's too far away, this, as I say, this gauge goes backwards and forwards. And yet you can add up that, and you sort of go, yeah, but to be honest with you, just take a bit of time, just set it up, right? And yeah, so here we go. Let's rotate the disc and see what my runout is. Now, see, it's not quite there. See how finicky this thing is. And also, just show you how finicky it is. If I just push on Barry gently, and he's on the ramp, or not ramp, jack, yeah, there's a little bit of a winkle-wonkle. So let's just dial that down, hang on. Oh, now I've put that really completely out. Oh, you bastard. Right, hang on. See, right, there we go. Right, we are on 0. Let's just bugger it. Let's just use that as our base. So here we go. Let's rotate the disc. Hang on, we've got to go forward. So we've got to go the forward, the rotation of the road wheels. And here we go. So we go, oh, well, there we go. We've already gone well beyond, you see, because the permissible amount is here. That's it. Okay, and as we can tell, we've gone up to, yeah, we've gone a little bit high. We've gone to 0.20. Let's see, is there any more? Any more for any more? Yeah, oh, bugger, okay. 0.3. All right, Barry, calm your shit down, mate. 0.4, any more for 0.4? 0.2, 1, 2, 3, any more? Oh, 0.3, 0.3, wow, okay. So he is, yeah, so here we go. I'll just rotate the disc, and you can then see that, there you go, that is what's happening. And he is, yeah, his disc is warped, according to Volkswagen. And their permissible amounts of runout, he's, yeah, okay. Right. Now, we are sitting there going, the maximum runout for the disc is 0.10 of a mil. And you go, okay, is that a lot? No. Is 0.44 of a mil a lot? Well, doesn't really look a lot. Certainly not, well, it looks a huge amount on the dial tool, but when you actually then look at what it is with your feeder gauges, and your feeder gauges are really, really handy, because they will show you what that equates to. You see, I can't quite get 44, so I've got 45 on my feeder gauges. Now, if you pull out 45 on your feeder gauges and you just go, yeah, wow, that's not a lot, but it's enough to warp that disc. So, and then you look at what their permissible amount is, and you then go, oh, okay, so that is what I've got, that is what we shouldn't have, but that is the maximum. However, just to put it into perspective, when you've done tappets on an air-cooled Volkswagen, you set them at 0.15 of a mil lash. So when you are setting tappets and you've got them and you go and you've got that looseness, you go, yeah, that's enough. It feels a huge amount. And then when you're looking here and you go, I don't feel a huge amount. But yeah, that is how much it is. So 0.44 of a mil on a warp disc is quite a lot. However, I am just going to do one more test. I'm quite sure it is the disc that is warped, but just something just came to my head, and I'm quite sure many of you are there going, check the hub, check the hub. So I will check the hub. I have cleaned up here. I'll just show you what I've done there. As I was saying, one thing we are going to check, we are just going to check the hub. I've cleaned here already. It's not the best surface because it's got a lot of surface rust on there, but I've gone through it. I've scraped off as much as I possibly can just to see if this has got any wonky woo on it, and if it hasn't, then we know that it's definitely a disc. However, I think it is the disc because when I rotate it with the pads in, you can feel the resistance. So let's move this around, and then, oh, actually, look, I can find out where my lowest point is because my blue paint is there. So that's probably about where the lowest point is. So bear with me while I just piss around with this. Now, just for the shits and giggles, I am just going to run it around on the hub. Now, it is the hub, as I say, I've cleaned it up as best I can. It's not the best surface. your disc surface, this should be super smooth. Here, it doesn't really matter because it doesn't really have to do anything apart from hold your wheel nuts and hold your discs on. But there is, when you rotate it, there is an amount that it runs up. But that could well be a lot of shit that's on there, but it has got that high spot there. So where's my marker? Just out of curiosity, I'm just going to mark that there, which must be about here. So let's put a cross on that because actually I'm going to run it across the disc. There we go. And we'll see whether or not that correlates with our wonky bits on our disc. But see, then it goes back down and it goes back down to about 0. So there is a wonky woo there. But now I have just rejigged all of this up against the disc. And the high spot is where the high spot on the hub part on the disc. You see, you might be able to say, well, let me move my torch around, you might be able to see my blue marks, you see. And that is now giving me, not as much, although I can tell you, as I rotate that around, we do get up to about 46.46 of a mil. So I'm gonna actually take the disc off just to see if there's anything not quite sitting right behind this. Let's have a look. I'm slightly stuck here for space because the heavens have opened. It's just started shitting it down and I've got wet paint on the V's of the rear panel, so I don't want to get that wet, so I've had to squeeze myself in. However, I did do something with the old disc, and I did notice in here there was a build-up of sort of shit just sort of where the high point was, and I went, ooh, will that make a difference? Anyway, I can tell you, no, it didn't. Cleaned it out and cleaned the hub. No, didn't make much of a difference. I am going to check the hub for Runout. However, I thought, do you know what, bugger it, let's just put a new disc on. And actually these discs are much different to the ones I've actually got on here. I think the discs that I fitted on here were cheap ones. Don't fit cheap ones. These are TRW, which are about 20 quid more than the cheap ones. I think actually the ones I had in the shed were the ones, and I bought them ages ago for someone else and they didn't use them. So that's probably why I fitted them, because I wouldn't usually fit them. But anyway, so I'll show you now with a new disc what we've got. We have got a slight overrun out, but when we get to about 14, we get there, 16, which, yeah, I know VW say that's a bit too much, but is it because this is sort of brand new disc and it's sort of got all this crap on it? But that's, let's just put it this way, it's better than what was on there. I mean, if it's up to here now and it was down to there originally, we all then go, ooh, bugger. So I'm quite happy that, yeah, quite happy with the disc, because otherwise I'd be like probably taking the bearing off to try and put a new bearing in. But the bearing is fine because I've rotated the hub and I've been fitting for lash and all that stuff, and I can't feel any play. So I'm quite happy with that, but I'm just going to clean up the hub surface just a little bit more. I'm just going to check. Actually, one thing I didn't check, where is that high point? You see, that's the high point. Ah, now, here we go. The high point that we've been getting has been around about here. I've marked it, see, on the hub here. So I do wonder if, whether or not the high point that we've got is just one of those manufacturing things, because are they ever so direct? No, because this is mass-produced shit, you see. But that's where the high point is normally. See, that's where it is. See, that's my blue line, and that's where his high point is. So, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. But let me just check something. Where his low point is, and it is between those two. Right, so let's just look at this disc here, because that is there. His low point is there. See, right, so his low point is still the same. It's still the same. It's sort of between these two after that. See, there's that, and those two are here. So, yeah, I think it could well be that the hub is slightly, or it's just how it is. But that is, let's put it this way, considerably better than what was there before. So, right, okay, we will carry on. I haven't got a chance to do it today because I've got no space and I've got wet paint on the Visa and I need to do the other disc on the other side. I will get the dial on that disc before I swap it and then put the dial on the disc after I swap it, and we will have a look. and we'll come back to this. But in the meantime, I'm going to whack that all together. I'm going to just grease up behind there on the hub, because you always want it protected against the rust and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to put it all together, and then when I get him out, I will then do the other side, and we'll come back to this. Anyway, I hope you found that exciting. I was like, I thought it was going to be more exciting than it actually turned out to be. But yeah, but listen, I'm going to wait till the rain stops, because I can push Toby out, because I can't get in here to do anything. But yeah, anyway, mind you go, take care, see you soon. Discs, because I was just looking at this and trying to work out what the dial is, because measurements, I tell you now, I absolutely get confused. If someone says it's 8 inches, oh, so yeah, okay, that's 8 inches. I really haven't got a bloody clue. So yeah, so that's why I always carry tape measures in the cars, just in case. But yeah, so let me just have a look at what the Runout looks like, and I will come back. Go press stop recording.